Okay, we're live on YouTube. And also, let me see. On YouTube, I could save it and actually,
I'm calling to open.
I cut myself off. Okay, so we're actually live on YouTube. Idris, could you hear me? Okay, I think I just lost Idris. I'm sorry, guys. We're very late. I've been having some technical difficulties with Zoom and everything else. So I have Idris here who's going to be going over the Uganda experience, and he's just signing back in.
You there?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me? So we're live on
Yeah, I can
YouTube.
let you. Yes,
And could you see my screen?
I can see you. I can see you via Zoom.
Okay. Okay, guys. Idris is actually in Uganda. So this is kind of late for him. It's what, about 7:30 there in the evening. And I'm just grateful that he's here to do this presentation for us. And we might do a second presentation, but I'm getting ready to. I'm Cindy Tolbert because I didn't introduce myself. I'm Cindy Tolbert, the founder of Potter Puff Travels, and I'm planning to do what I call the Uganda Experience in September. The dates are September the 20th through the 26th, and this is a ladies' trips to Uganda. And for me, this is a dream come true. Definitely is going to be a once in a lifetime experience. Idris have been working very closely and patiently with me to try to put together the best package possibly so you could see the beauty of Uganda and the wildlife that lives there. And we just lost him briefly. Oh, he just came back. So just guys, just keep in mind we are talking from two different countries and we might have a little technical difficulties. So if you're listening to this video, be just be very patient with us. Thank you. So, Idris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Cindy. My name is Idris Kamoga, and I'm from Uganda, and I've lived here for about 35 years plus now. So, and this is my home country. This is where I was born, and I've done safaris for the last 15 years, and we've offered seamless experience to all our guests. And I'm happy to join hands with you, Cindy, on this what we call the biggest primate safari in Uganda that combines Chivali Forest National Park, home to chimpanzee. Actually, it's the largest. It holds the largest population of chimpanzees in Africa. And the second one is found in Rwanda, which is Nyungwe Forest. But Chimpanzee Forest National Park, which will be one of the destinations to visit, holds the largest
Sorry about
holds
that.
the
I forgot to record.
it holds the largest population of chimpanzees in Africa. And then probably will also have Bwidi Forest National Park, which is an impenetrable forest, home to mountain gorillas. So briefly, that's all about us from Uganda. And once again, I'm happy to join hands together with Cindy, Path Travel, to see that everyone gets a memorable and seamless experience come September. Thank you.
And before Idris get give details, a little high overview of the different primates that you would be able to see on this trip and go over the highlights of this experience, I want to ask everyone, name the closest relative to human, and then we'll give you the answer at the end. But definitely think about that. Which um, which animal has almost 98% of the same DNA as human? So, with that said, Idris, go ahead. Let's start with the chimpanzee experience. How difficult is the hike for the chimpanzees?
Thank you so much, Cindy. The chimpanzee trekking experience, the real trekking, is not hard. It doesn't require any experience. Besides, the terrain is not hard, as we'll see maybe for the gorilla trekking. And usually we have two sessions for the chimpanzee trekking. I would, I would rate the trekking of the chimpanzee as moderate, right? Because we've got the easy, the moderate, and the hard, what we call challenging. But for the chimpanzee trekking, it is moderate. Yes, it involves more hours of walking, about 3 to 4 hours, because the morning session starts at about you go to the parkhead quarters for the briefing, and by 8 a.m. the briefing is done, and then you head into the jungle. So the 4 hours is for the trekking, and you may return out of the jungle about uh, midday, which is 12, so that the second group prepares itself to do the second trekking in the afternoon. So the morning trekking is very exciting. Chimpanzees have just woken up, they're trying to look for food, they are joining their communities, they are trying you know, to make new nests where they will be staying for, for the next night. They are looking after their families. Literally, to have that question answered well, the trekking is moderate.
Okay.
It doesn't require so much experience that you have to be fit. This, no, we've had the minimum age to track chimpanzees is 12 years, and we've had as about 76 people coming to track chimpanzees. So it's moderate.
So for the trekking for the chimpanzees, will we have to beware of altitude sickness for them or no?
No altitude sickness for chimpanzees, just because the terrain is not as hilly as is for mountain gorilla trekking. The altitude there, we can say, could be about, yes, we've got hills there, because the Western Circuit is characterized with mountainous, landscape. Chivale is next to Queen Elizabeth, next to Renzori, of which Renzori is a mountain about 5,100 meters above sea level. But for Chivale, we can say it's about 7,000 meters above sea level. So we shouldn't expect any. And I've had no client going for chimpanzee trekking, and is pretty much flat for that matter, but not as that as of Buindi Forest National Park.
Mm. So also, I think we have a walk. If I'm not mistaken, we have also a walk where we see other primates in the jungle on a different day. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Um, During the chimpanzee trekking, of course, you bump into other primates. Like I said, we've got about 13 species of primates in the forest. The black and white colobus monkey, the vervet monkey. There are so many species of mountain that you can pretty see in the forest during the trekking. But the biggest highlight is the chimpanzee. But there are so many, you know, primate species that probably guests will definitely have to encounter on a trek.
Oh, that's good to know. So it's a possibility we won't just see chimpanzees. It's a possibility we might also see other primates doing this trekking.
Other primates and an abundant array of bird species. There
Oh,
are
so we
so many bird species in the forest, you know, so many bird species. It is believed, the forest has got other mammals, lots of mammals, but it has got a corridor that joins Queen Elizabeth National Park. So that corridor, uh, elephants use them to do the connection between the two parks. This is something very rare, but for lucky clients, it can even take 1 year without sighting an elephant. But with that corridor, uh, mammals cross either way from this part to the other part. So lots of wildlife, is evident in the park.
oh my God, how about lions?
And no lions at all, no lions at all. So
Okay, that's the biggest thing. And someone asked me this earlier, and I didn't think of this because the trekking could be kind of wet in some cases. But I think for the gorilla, is there a possibility that you run upon a snake?
this is a forest, and it's a live forest. It's a live forest, and you cannot say Cindy is here, don't come around, blah blah blah, something of that sort. So um remember, the trekking happens, these are guided treks. They've got rangers. Sorry, my power is blackout, so I'm using another lighting when it comes back. So the lighting has been affected, but I hope everyone can still see me.
Yes, yes,
Pro-
I still can see you.
okay, sure. So the snakes, you remember, you're visiting the home of wildlife,
Yes, that's
butterfly, snakes, but they are guided. These are guided walks. So safety is of priority. Like I said, the slowest tracker leads the group, right? Because no one is left behind because of speed. No. So everyone is safe on a trip. Remember, you go with security, you go with professional rangers for the park, the porters. For chimpanzee, no porters. You really not need, unless someone has got walking difficulties. This is when we bring in a porter.
okay. Yeah, so that's another thing about this experience. We're going to have porters that's going to be included in the price. So we actually, what I liked it about this, we're going to, like he said, like Idris said, we're going to have security, you have trackers, people who's tracking the family of gorillas that we're going to see. And also, you have porters that are going to be carrying water or whatever we need them to carry. And also, just in case you decide to pass out or something, we have porters that are going to be taking care of that. So that's one of the things that I made sure was included in this package in this package is having porters coming along with us on this trip. So we're going to have a whole team of people tracking with us on this gorilla tracking. So, Idrissa, are you still there? Yeah, he's currently having some power issues. This is a very common thing in a lot of the African countries um, with the power, but I'm gonna one of the things that in my packing list that you will receive is power banks. power banks is very important. Even for my Tanzania trips or even Morocco trips or anything, I strongly always emphasize having a power bank because you never know when the power go out and you still want your phone to be charged. And yeah, so he probably just briefly just lost power, but this this itinerary, I am so excited about it. I'm planning to release this trip probably late tonight. So definitely, if you on the email list, you're going to be the first ones to get an opportunity to look over the itinerary. Either going to be late tonight or by Monday. I like to closely look at my itineraries first to try to eliminate any major mistakes. Of course, we're not perfect. Sometimes there's little mistakes, but I want to make sure no major mistakes are in the itinerary, and I want to make sure everything is clear for everyone because when you're traveling from country to country, definitely I want you to be aware of everything. So I think Idris is coming back.
I can have you, Cindy, now. Sorry, I think connection is a bit of problem, but I think we can.
Yeah, so I was just going over that, sometime, you know, you experience a little power outs sometimes in different countries. So Africa, it's a common thing.
Okay,
So could you hear me very well?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. So I think you was just talking to, I think you left off on talking about the gorillas.
Um, First of all, we've got in Uganda, we've got two homes to mountain gorillas. We've got Bwindi Forest National Park, which is very popular. And we've got Mogahinga National Park. This is the smallest park in the country with only one gorilla family. But Bwindi, which will be our, you know, destination to visit for mountain gorillas, it has got more than 14 families as I speak now. And all these are habituated. Habituation means they are used to human presence and
Mm.
people can go and meet them. And the trekking also, well, requires some energy because of the terrain. It requires an early rise because the trekking starts as 8 o'clock, but the process of the trekking and the orientation begins at 6 a.m. So
Ooh.
usually we recommend that clients stay closer to their gorilla families that have been allocated or gorilla sections that have been allocated for their trekking so that they can have probably not so much of an early rise, pretty walk to the park headquarters or have a short drive distance to the park headquarters. And after their briefing, they can probably drive to their trailhead. And from the trailhead, this is when they enter the jungle and then you start the trekking. And the trekking process is unpredictable in terms of amount of time you're required to. As you're aware, as you track the gorillas, they are also moving forward, looking for food, looking after their families. Recently, we've got the gorilla babies boom in the forest. During COVID, visitors were not going there, so the gorillas multiplied, so they gave so much birth. So around this time, each family has got so many babies, all that stuff. So as you're moving towards them, they also move towards uh, uh, looking for food, where they're going to make their new nest for a night, all that stuff. They are in their home, so they are free to roam around. So it can be between 4 5 hours 6 hours of probably of your trekking, but you are guaranteed of 1 hour upon meeting the mountain gorillas to stay and interact with them. And there are some gorilla trekking rules and regulations. staying 7 meters away from the mountain gorillas, all that. But remember, the briefing in the morning entails all that. But it doesn't mean the mountain gorillas wouldn't come to you. They may come to you. They may even come touch you. You know, we've seen this. They have touched clients' hairs. They have touched their clothes. They have touched their pants. You know, they have fallen off them. Remember, they have babies. Babies are playing. The mothers are watching. The fathers are watching the silverback. So all that, but you're guaranteed of 1 hour upon meeting the mountain gorillas. Then after 1 hour, this is when your ranger guides will order you or instruct you. Then you return back, you know, to your out of the forest.
So they could touch you, but you better not touch them.
You don't touch them, because those are, you know, these are restrictions, and these are regulations, and the rules are being given to you before the trekking. This is
Mhm.
why the early rise is required for the orientation and the briefing on how you should behave. No litter in the forest. The emphasis of carrying capacity, it's only 8 people visiting a family, you know, no more than 8 people. Take nothing, leave take nothing but photos, leave nothing but footprints. All that is being, you know, told to you about before you're trekking. So plus so many, you know, guidelines, you know, but the experience is life changing. That's what I can say.
Yeah, that's what I heard about gorilla tracking. That the experience itself, even a safari, is life changing just to be able to see these beautiful animals in a natural habitat. And also, I think on the schedule we have a mini game drive, don't we?
I think so, because yeah, we have a pretty 2 game drives. That
Hmm.
is in Queen Elizabeth National Park, and here we have the game drive in the north of the park. Apparently, as I speak to you, the lions have been very easily to be accessible. You know, it's we're in the dry season. The sun is the grass is down, so it's very easy to see the lions. You know, everywhere we've been. So the game drive in the north. Also, we got another game drive in the south, which is the Ishasha, which is famous for the tree climbing lions. So the Ishasha is home to the tree climbing. And remember, in East Africa, you can only have the tree climbing lands in Tanzania, which is in Manyara,
Yep.
and in Queen Elizabeth, which is in Ishasha section.
Yep. I actually planning a trip to Lake Mayara, also in Tanzania, and I thought it was quite interesting. You only could see the tree lining, the climbing tree lions only in two national parks, so in Uganda and Tanzania. So guys, this you never know what you might see in Uganda. And one of the things that I also like to include in my trips is a cultural experience. So, can you a little bit talk about the cultural experience that we added with the Batwa people, and and also give their common name, which is pygmies, as a lot of us know them as.
Yes. Actually, our trip is very well paced. It has a combination of the trekking of the primates, the wildlife sightseeing. You know, to someone who really wants to who enjoys photography, I think this is a must. Not miss. The Batwa, we've got, yeah, the local Batwa, which are the pygmies. This tribe is actually almost coming to extinction. I wouldn't say, we may not be having more than 300 in terms of the population, because
Oh
we got
wow!
some in Semoliki. The majority lies around Bwindi and Mogahinga National Park, you know. And these are the indigenous people that lived around the forest. Previously, they lived into the forest, but during when the government gazetted the national parks, they were forced out of the national parks because the they used to depend largely so much from the resources in the national park. You know, their home was the national park. They used to live into the caves. And when you go to Mugahinga National Park, their home, they had a big cave in the park. So, but in Bwindi, we have them now in the communities, and we'll have uh, uh, time to visit the Batwa, share their lifestyle, their local life. It gives you a local feeling of how they live, how they used to live. They have so much stories, in terms of narration of the stories, and also visiting them is one way of improving their lifestyle, their welfare, because there's a fee that we pay, and that fee probably goes to them, and it helps them in uplifting their standards of life, something of that sort. But the experience gives you a local interaction of how an indigenous Batwa lives around the forest. They would show you some demonstrations on how they used to make their fire before the introduction of the matchbox and etc. And up to now, they still use these methods on how to prepare their hunting skills, the medicine man. For them, they don't use the medications that everyone is much. They've got their own medicine. They join, they get leaves from the forest. They understand all that in terms of how they treat themselves. So, in other words, what we can say is the participation of someone on this trip would actually have more in terms of the culture, learning on how the Batwa lives or how they used to live days back and how actually they live currently uh, uh, around the forest, which was their home, and also currently now living outside the forest. And how do they find all this stuff? How do they marry? Uh, it is not The culture is not yet commercialized, so it's still raw. So people would have that feel of the Batwa experience.
So it's not as commercialized as the Maasai tribe. I must.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I just think this definitely one of the things that really add a little bit more to the trip. I mean, a little bit more oomph, I guess you could say, to this package. You get opportunity, and it sounds like almost a rare moment to meet these people. Do they know what the cause of their population decrease?
I think this is something from way back. First of all, there was non-limited. These are very, very short people, I should say. So the intermarriage is
Mhm.
very limited, very limited within the other populations, maybe, and the multiplication has been affected. And they are previously known as jungle people. So I think even when it comes, because human can only multiply through birth, right?
Mhm.
So if the marriage and the intermarriage is low between the Batwa, then of course the population count has to go down in as far as
Ah,
so so they are jungle people. They are very primitive in whatever things they do. So you can pretty see what distances them from other people, probably into multiplication when it comes to the population.
very exciting. I have I remember hearing about the pygmies as a kid. So when I found out that I could add this to this tour, I was so excited. I was like, oh yeah, I get a chance to see the pygmies.
Sure,
So,
sure, sure. No, it is a guaranteed that whoever comes on this trip will have an interaction with the pygmies.
so guys, if you was watching National Geographic like I was and heard about the pygmies tribe, this is a great opportunity. I mean, I made sure something special is added to this trip, and it's the Pygmies tribe, and you'll get a chance to interact and meet with them. So think about it. You're gonna have a cultural experience. You get a chance to see the gorillas, which we didn't go in detail. This is a limited experience. A whole group of 25 or 26 people, is difficult. Like he was saying, it's only like 8 in a group to see a family, and it's limited per day. And also, these gorilla permits are very hot items. There's a limited amount because it's controlled by the government. The government want to make sure, you know, that the animals are not overwhelmed with visitors. So this is not like a common safari that you're going to see 1,000 safari trips or 1,000 groups going to see the gorillas. No, this is very limited. And even the commendations. This is a very popular thing that people love to do. And I'm planning this in a year in advance, but we have a short time period of making sure we secure our um, our guerrilla permits, which is the most important thing to secure, and also our accommodations. So definitely, if you're thinking that this is something that you would love to do, this is something that you can't absolutely wait 5 months and decide whether or not you're going on this particular trip. You absolutely, I mean, as soon as
Yeah.
possible. If there's something to speak to you, it definitely has to speak to your soul, and this is something you want to experience. Definitely do not wait too long because, like I say, we could be talking about, yeah, we're going gorilla tracking now. And as Idris explained to me, 2 or 3 months later, someone could be getting those passes and it could be sell out. It's a very hot item. So, definitely, if you're considering the Uganda trip, this particular trip is a little bit more time sensitive than any other experiences that I offer. So definitely, you do not want to wait too long. Definitely, I say, talk it over. You got to talk it over with a spouse or whoever or a friend. Talk it over and make sure you make the right decision. But this is limited time and limited space. I'm actually only taking a very small number of people. So definitely it's first come, first serve with this. Um, that's another thing. I'm taking less than 10. So definitely if this is something that you always want to do and you want to experience this, let me know right away. And currently the deposit is at 250. So yes, so currently I'm gonna release this. I'm hoping to release this by
Mhm.
definitely tomorrow night. I have to look over. I probably have to go over a few more things with Idris to make sure I capture everything. And you guys, um, like I say, don't wait too long. And I'm so excited that to be offering this amazing experience. It's getting late. I want to tell Idris so much. Thank you so much for this. I think this was very helpful. And I will be talking to you soon and sleep well. Thank you.
Thank you and
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.